Hi everybody, today we're talking about measures of center. Now we've already learned one measure of center, mean, but let's go ahead and define that first. A measure of center are measurements that show the center or the middle of the data set. We have three main ones: mean, median, and mode. Mean, we already talked about how we find the average. The median is the middle number, or the balance point. So it's the point where there are the same number of numbers on both sides of that point. In order to find the median, we first need to order from the least to the greatest. Then we need to find the middle number of our data set. So once we have all of our numbers in an order, we can find which number lies exactly in the middle. Now, if there's an even amount of numbers, there'll actually be two numbers in the middle. So in order to find the median, we then need to find the mean of the two middle numbers, because that number will be exactly in between those two, which will help us to find the number that's exactly in between all of our data values. Another measure of center is the mode. The mode is the most common or most frequent number. What that means then is it's the data value that has the most values at the same number. Let's see if we can find some mean, median, and modes. Example 1 asks us to find the median and the mode of the bowling scores listed there. When finding the median, remember that our first step is to order all of our numbers. So I know that 90 is the smallest, and then I can keep going through my list. I know next comes 105, and I keep going from there. So 105, 120, 125, 135, 145, 160, I have another 160, 175, and 205. Now what you'll notice that I did while I was going through, they went through and crossed off numbers as I used them. That helps me to make sure just that I'm getting all of my numbers when I'm finding the median. Okay, now in order to find the middle value, I know, well, I'm going to cross off numbers from each side so that I can find the exact middle. Because right now there's 3 numbers taken away on one side, 3 numbers taken away on the other side. Now I'm left here with 2 numbers in the middle. I still need to find which number is exactly in between those 2 numbers. I can do that by taking the median of those two, or the mean of those 2 numbers. I know that this right here would leave me with 140. I can do this by finding the mean of those 2 middle numbers, or by saying which number is exactly in between 135 and 145. So 140 is our median, 140. Let's talk about our mode. Our mode, we don't have a lot of steps to do. We just look at which is the most common number. Well, 160, we had 2 people score 160 points. Everyone else just scored different points, so our mode is 160. Now for mode, we could have one mode, we could have more than one mode, or we could have no modes. There's always one median and always one mean though. I want you to complete example 2 on your own, but let's try example 3 together. I want to find all the measures of center. So there's all my data right there listed out for you. These are again prices of sneakers. The mean I found by adding all of the numbers up. I got 380. There were 8 numbers, so I divided it by 8. That would leave me with $48.50. The median, remember, the first step is to list out all of our numbers in order. Now, we got 20, we have 2 20s, and then 31. So I've got 20, 20, 31. My next number in my list would be 37. I also have 45 and 48. So I use 37, 45, 48. I also have to use 65. And I have to use 122. So now I have all my numbers, all 8 of my numbers. in order. A quick check to make sure you've done your median correctly or the ordering step is just to make sure you still have the same number of numbers that you started with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 numbers here, 8 numbers there. I have all my numbers. Let's go ahead and find that middle value. Now again, I have 2 numbers left over in the middle. See, there are 3 numbers on each side. These 2 numbers are 37 and 45. In order to find the median, we need to take the mean of the 2 middle numbers or find which number is exactly in between. We get that this is 82 over 2, which means our mean here is $41. Our mode, again, we look at what's the most common number. Well, 20 is listed twice. We don't have any other sneakers that cost $20, so our mode is $20. Our last step with measures of centers is to look at these 3 numbers and say which one best describes our data set listed. We have $48.50, $41, and $20. Those 3 numbers are very different. So which one best describes the center of my data set? In this case, 20, the mode, are my lowest 2 values. That does not look like the center. $48.50, that's located right here. Again, that doesn't really look like my center. Now 41 is in between 37 and 45. That looks the most like my center. So which one best represents the data would be the median. This isn't always true, but if we look at this one right here, we have an outlier of 122. Since we have an outlier of 122, that really affects our mean and brings my mean a lot higher, which is why $48.50, the mean, is a lot bigger than $41, the median. So we have 3 measures of center, and we can find the measures of center for every data set, but sometimes there's a better measure of center, depending on the data set.